Sora AI as well. What's your
Yep.
post-mortem? I mean, they've closed now signups and stuff because it just went ballistic. So for the people that don't know, this is the video equivalent of OpenAI's image creation service, and now you can do video too. Although so many people signed up, it's restricted to particular territories, etc., etc., etc. What do you make of the way that that went?
Yeah. So this is video. So this is text to video generation. So you put in a text prompt, you get out a video, which sounds easy, turns out to be very hard. It's very magical. They're Sora's one of the more impressive ones at OpenAI. There are others. We have a bunch of others, and there's a bunch of others underway. It's a competitive space, but the class of technologies is very impressive, and Sora is very impressive. I mean, one is just like, how amazing is it to live in a world in which you can literally, say a text prompt of, a hobbit living in a hobbit town with, and the dragon shows up, and then like literally it will render that for you, right? And if you want the dragon to be rendered out of used car parts, you just say dragon made out of used car parts, and it renders that for you, right? And so it's like, I mean, that's just amazing to start with. The even more amazing thing about that, and OpenAI put out a paper about this. It's very interesting. So the more amazing thing about that is, to generate video that passes the sniff test of the human eye, looks at it and thinks that it's real. You can't just sort of copy from other videos, and that's part of what's happening is, this is, you're training, the system like Sora is trained on millions of hours of video, from like all over the world, and all this open source stuff and everything, and old, out of old movies and all this stuff. And then there's copyright disputes over what else is in there and so forth. But, so it's trained on lots of video, but it's not sufficient to just train on lots of because video is all 2D. It's not sufficient to just train on 2D video and then generate a new 2D video that actually looks to the human eye like it's a representation of the real 3D world. And if you look at these videos coming out from Sora, if you look at them carefully, basically what you see is like multiple sources of lighting in different parts in 3D space coming together. You see reflections coming off of reflective surfaces that are actually correct. You see translucency that's correct, and then you get combinations of these factors. So, like, for example, if you do something where like man walking through puddle at night, you'll get the splashing effects of the water. The water has to splash in a way that is physically realistic. The light has to come through, refract through the water droplets in the correct way. The water droplets have to reflect the image of the man's shoe in the right way. So, and the AI term for this is world model. This is not only a model for video, this is a model that actually understands the real world. It's a model that actually understands 3D reality, right? And it understands light, right? And it understands surfaces and textures and materials and motion.
And gravity.
Right? And gravity and shapes and right, exactly, all these things, right, exactly. A stiff surface versus a spongy surface. Give me a close up of a baseball bat hitting a baseball. In slow motion, it has to deform the baseball in the way that in the real world it does. When it hits the bat. And like for this story, it has to do all those things. And in fact, it is able to do all those things. Like if you just look at the results, you can see all that's happening. And so what that means, backing up to that, the implication is that model is not just a video model, it's what's called a world model, meaning it actually understands 3D physical reality. The implication of that is that we may have basically just solved the fundamental challenge of robotics. The fundamental challenge of robotics is, how do you get a physical robot to navigate the real world without screwing everything up? Right. So how do you get a robot waiter to navigate through a busy restaurant without stepping on anybody's foot, right? Without tripping over anything, without spilling water on the table, to understand everything that's happening in real time, to be able to adapt, very similar to the self-driving car challenge. Like how do you do that? But how do you do that for basically everything? And how do you put machines up close with people in such a way that it's like completely safe? And it turns out one of the things you need to do that is you need a world model. The robot needs to have a comprehensive understanding of physical reality so that it can understand what's happening. And so when things change, because, the robot's seeing primarily visual, right?